It is a Friday, and normally at this time, of course, we've got Mick Kerr with Farm Talk on the air. Mick took the day off, so we're running the best of for Mick today during Farm Talk. But we also have the opportunity, and I'm going to run this broadcast right during Farm Talk, right before we get into a Mick's program. Then we're going to talk with Pam Gulleson, who is the House candidate for the state of North Dakota in the elections that are going to be coming up here in November. And Pam, of course, the main thing on everybody's mind right now is, of course, the Senate yesterday did get the Farm Bill passed in the Senate by a score of 64 to 35. So everything is looking really well as far as the Senate's concerned, and I'm sure we're concerned now what's going to happen in that House where actually you're running for this fall.
Hi, Terry. Yes, I think everybody needs to, obviously feel pretty good about what happened yesterday with the Senate. I know that this has been in works for about 2 or 3 weeks now in a very bipartisan way. Senator Conrad and Senator Hoeven from this state really took the lead on co-sponsoring the Farm Bill legislation in the Senate. It is a compromise bill. That's the way it works. It obviously doesn't have everything everybody'd want in it, but it's a really, I think, solid piece of legislation, and it includes the really key provisions that North Dakotans tell us that they wanted protected, which of course is crop insurance, a farm safety net for when the market prices fall, some disaster titles, a strong energy title to continue to support some of the renewables. And then it includes a significant amount of reduction, about $23 billion in reduction over the past Farm Bill, which is obviously, I think, important as we all work to try to reduce this deficit. So it's a responsible bill. It's an accountable bill. I think it's one we can feel good about. Now the major work is on the House side. And you're right, this is the office I'm running for, is to be North Dakota's representative in the U.S. House. And a strong farm bill, of course, for the state of North Dakota and the nation is really critical, not only to our economy. We know that it makes a big difference in the economy of our state, just in terms of jobs and all of the activities surrounding agriculture, but it's important national food security for our country. It allows us to have an affordable food for our citizens. It's a major part of our national security. No country can be strong without having a strong food supply for their country. So it's a very, to me, defensible bill. And so it's always been a priority that we have a strong farm bill. Most people loved our last farm bill, 2008, would have liked to have state operating under that. But we do have to, of course, authorize a new farm bill every 5 years. So this particular farm bill expires the end of September. So there is a time sensitivity to this. And that's why I call on the House, obviously, to get to work in a bipartisan way, in a serious way, and actually produce something that's important for our country.
Well, let me ask you this, Pam, and I know on Ag News 890 we're actually preaching to the choir because that's who we're talking to is farmers and ranchers. And we're not talking to the city folks on this station, definitely not the case. But farmers and ranchers, and of course you being exactly in that category, farming and ranching is what you're doing out there on the farm, you and Bill and the kids. And you're looking at a situation where you actually have a pulse on what's going on as far as farm programs are concerned and what is good and what is not good for the programs. What issues are you seeing that might happen in the House as they get in on the action starting on the 11th of July?
Yeah, well, that's right. And Bill and I are in the business of farming, and our sons farm with us. We're so pleased to be able to be in the business, but we know it's not easy. Everybody who's farming and ranching understands that the risks associated, and not across the board, of course. Weather, markets, we're pretty vulnerable to a lot of things that are out of our control, and that's why a strong farm bill is so important because with the ability to have crop insurance and to be able to buy insurance and eliminate or at least diminish some of that risk, bring certainty. That certainly is a high priority amongst bankers and the lenders. They want to know that the dollars that they borrow to farmers and ranchers are in the event of, which is all too often in North Dakota, weather events, disasters. Last year we had probably the nicest corn crop on our farm we'd seen in the history of it, going on July 9th when I drove to Lisbon to my son's wedding, and on July 10th, 125-mile winds, green snapped that corn, and we literally lost most of our corn crop. That's the way it is in farming. You just don't have control over that. So that's why you look to insert provisions in a national farm policy that will help you sort of stem those years, get through it. So you buy crop insurance that allows you to have some coverage, at least covers the costs. And that's why it's important not only to farmers and ranchers, but to everybody in North Dakota. I think they say that a farm dollar turns over, I've heard, 7 to 10 times. We know strong manufacturing in the state that comes directly because of farmers. So you can name the companies, Case IH, Wilrich, and a lot of other manufacturings that really support this country, the industry of farming. And that's just the tip of the spear. That doesn't even talk about all of the Main Street businesses in all of our communities that are directly affected by the farming industry. So that's why it's so important, and it should be important to more people than just farmers and ranchers.
And therein lies the problem with 890. You're preaching to the choir.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know, but it is an important message, and everybody is making decisions, obviously, about who they support in this next election. My opponent, Kevin Kramer, hasn't yet to come out and say anything about the Farm Bill either way, which is strangely odd given the immense nature of farming in North Dakota. He was supported in his effort in the primary by a group called Club for Growth. They sent out about a $70,000 mailing on his behalf. And their number one priority, if you look at their website and their press releases, is defeating the Farm Bill. So it's a strange alliance. It's not one that a group that I would ever align myself with. And I think, obviously from the perspective of my opponent, I think he needs to answer to that. But today I'm talking about, of course, my positions, and it's, obviously I understand, not only just because I live it, but because I understand, globally what this means to us, just in terms of our capacity for trade. About 23% of North Dakota's economy is directly involved in trade, and most of that focus on agriculture. So, all of that is part of our state's economy as well.
One of those things, Pam, the fact of the matter is the number one industry in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota is agriculture and agriculture-related businesses. So it's kind of like everybody involved in these three states. Actually, there's a lot more states that the number one industry is agriculture. Everybody understands that if you're not supporting agriculture, you're pretty much down the tubes. And I think if actually the people that do live in the cities in the state of North Dakota, Minnesota, and South Dakota understand that it's kind of like we can talk to those businesses and they understand when harvest is going on because business is slower. And reason being that, nothing stimulates the economy more than farming does. As a matter of fact, if you want to stimulate the economy, give a farmer $1 million, he'll turn it over 7 times, and you're going to have $7 million quick.
Yeah, no, that is so true. I mean, obviously, it's a tremendous part of our economy. It is, as you say, it is still number one. We know we have a considerable energy economy as well, and all of the opportunities that we're seeing in that. But agriculture remains the number one part of our economy, and it's such a central part of all of our communities. We not only, of course, do we farm and ranch, but we're on every board and commission and leadership position in our communities, and so it helps strengthen it. We're part of our churches, we're part of our schools. It's just part of who we are as North Dakotans.
Okay, Pam Gulleson, of course, candidate for the House of Representatives coming up in the November elections. Pam, best of luck in your campaign. And, of course, we'll be talking to you on down the road as things progress. And, yep, great thing. Senate passed the Farm Bill. It's on to the House, and let's win there.
Okay. Thanks so much, Terry. Appreciate visiting with you today.
That, of course, Pam Gulleson, who is running for the House in the November elections out of North Dakota. And, of course, Farm Talk, the best of, coming with Mick Kerr. From Ag Central for Ag News 890, I'm Farm Director Terry Loomis.